There we go. Okay, class, welcome to Thursday in week 2. This is our midterm, and I don't want anybody to get scared about that. We've gone over the material, and I'm going to talk a little bit after Princess is finished. So as soon as she's finished, please don't everybody log off and take off because we got some stuff to go over after that. But we have Princess Phillips here as our guest speaker today. So everybody give her a round of applause or thumbs up with those emojis there that you're so used to communicating with. A lot of people don't have microphones or they tend to be shy. So if
Yeah.
you can see their emojis, that's how we communicate a lot in this class. That lets you know that they are participating and
Okay.
are out there in the video world.
Works for
And
me.
so that is a great way for us to all communicate. And this is a great group of people. Their answers are tremendous.
Hmm.
You can't believe how incredible these professionals are. And again,
Oh,
I like to use the word professionals. They are not just students. Whenever I hear the word just students, I feel like people are discounting themselves, and we are
right.
not discounted. We are not marked down merchandise. We are so much better than that. We are the electricians. We are the HVAC technicians. We are the welders. We are what is building everything and taking
Hmm.
care of everything. So that's what we are. So I want to go ahead and turn this over to you so that you
Hmm.
can enlighten us with what you have today. So here's Princess Phillips from the Orlando Career Services Department.
Good morning, everybody. Young professionals who are in training.
Good morning.
Glad to be here. Glad to be a part of this. I am Princess, as Ronald said, that I am the Director of Career Services here at the Orlando campus, and I also am the career advisor that works specifically with the HVAC program here in Orlando, which is a very large and growing program. So I stay very busy. So I thank you again for reminding me yesterday evening. I mean, I would have seen it on the screen this morning, but I just like to be kind of prepared, and so. I had completely forgotten about today's class, but I'm glad I'm here. I've worked in career services, guys, for about almost 10 years. I've been at SDC a little over 3, and I absolutely love what I do. I have a team of 2 who actually works with the MA and the welding and electrical program. And the 3 of us as a team, we love what we do. Like, we get so much joy in watching you guys grow into professionals and getting that first opportunity to work in your career, your new field of study. That's super important to us. So I encourage you to get to know your career advisor. Is there anybody at this point who does not know who their career advisor is? Good, because you should be working with them from beginning to end. Take advantage of career services because we are there to really support you in any way we possibly can. Um, I previously worked in North Carolina as a career advisor with the medical assisting program, so I know a little teeny bit about that too. But HVAC has become my thing here. So it's very important for career services to assist you in finding work employment in your new field of study because this is a for-profit school and we are accredited, which is a great thing, and that makes sure we are doing the right thing by you. So we are training you to be professionals in a specific field, and we expect you to go work in that field. And if we don't do it, then we're not doing you we're doing you a disservice, and we're not doing our jobs, and they will shut the doors. So that's how important it is that you find employment in your field. It's not just something to, brag or boast about. It's something we really, really want you to do. And you've invested so much time and money into this. We want it to be successful for you. So we actually work alongside you. We'll do a lot of work for you, but we work and partner with you guys. That's very important. That's why I say make sure you know your career advisor, make sure you're in their face. You go speak at least, say good morning, stay in touch with them, answer phone calls if they're calling you, answer emails if they're emailing you, answer texts if they're texting you. It's a very good reason. We have a lot of things to do, so if we're calling you, it's a very important reason that we are contacting you. So that's the first thing I want to just stress that please, answer and stay in contact with your career advisor. Of course, everybody knows we are responsible. We as career services, we help you with resumes, creating a resume, editing a resume you already may have, and updating it. And some of you may know that this is a forever service to you. This is a lifetime service as a graduate of Southern Technical College. You can come back in 2 years, 3 years, and say, I need a new job. I need to update my resume. I need to know if you have some more contacts, some job leads that you can inform me about. That's a great service, and people use it. I've had people come in who graduated before I even started here, but it's just like I've never, I've met them before, and I sit down and have a chat, and we do their resume, and I assist them just as I do the students here. So that's a good thing to know. Anybody have any questions at this point? I don't want to chat too much. Nope. Okay. We also have
All
with
good.
interviews. Oh,
I want to jump in there. That is one thing that I want to emphasize that you mentioned. That resume service, that coming back and updating that resume, that is something that we just went over in class. That resume is a living document. It changes. So once you've been out there, you have some experience, you need help updating that resume, come back, get help, update that resume. Once you have been in a career and you have experience, update that resume. That needs to change as you change. It is never one and done. So thank you for mentioning that. And these services are ongoing after you graduate. Network back. We talked about networking. These are the people that you could network back with. Thank you for
yes.
that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, we help you with your interviewing skills. In addition to the mock interview, you can always come and interview with us if you want to practice. If you're feeling a little uneasy about an interview coming up, you don't have to wait till career prep. You don't have to, and it doesn't stop when you pass career prep. You can always come back and practice your interviewing skills, just to calm your nerves or not. We do a lot of networking with employers on your behalf. So career services, we are very busy all the time, but it's a good busy. I have students all the time stopping by my door saying, are you busy? And I go, yes, but come on in, because that means I'm working for you behind the scenes. I have to stay in contact with employers. I have to find new employers. We're inviting them to campus to come talk to you guys. We're inviting them to come do interviews on the spot. So we are always working in the background. We're working for you, and we're also working on your behalf with the employers in your field of study, which is extremely important. We also will help with the job search. We encourage you, of course, we tell you about the search engines, the Indeed, Simply Hired, Monster Jobs, and LinkedIn. But we also, again, are networking on your behalf. So there are times when, and it happens pretty often. Last week I had four. There are times when employers will actually reach out to us and say, hey, I need to hire some students or graduates. Please send me some resumes. I had four last week, and that's why I was super busy last week, because I was like, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of those things that's very exciting. And we choose those students that we know the best, or graduates we know the best, your motivation, your professionalism. So believe it or not, we're always watching when you're here on campus. We're like the first employer, basically, to see who's coming to class every day, who's dressed in their uniforms, who's staying late, who's coming early, who's really engaged in what they're learning, versus those who are barely showing up. So, of course, when it comes time to send resumes, we have to protect our own, reputation and send those resumes to people who are really motivated. So
I'd like
that's
to jump
important.
in there. We mentioned reputation and we talked about your brand. Your reputation gets there before you.
Mhm.
This is exactly what I was talking about. People who have good work ethics do not put out poor quality work ever. This shows in your schoolwork, it shows in your punctuality, it shows up even when you don't. So it is there speaking for you. Protect your brand, your reputation at all times. This is exactly where we're talking about. I need to find people to send over because somebody is hiring. I'm
Yes.
not going to go through and risk tarnishing my reputation by sending somebody with a reputation that doesn't match mine. Exactly. Right
Yes.
there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So these are pretty much the necessary ingredients that we do to assist you in getting employed in the field. Does anybody have any questions thus far about what I've talked about? Questions, comments? Okay, all good. So there are certain things that you have to be responsible for. Like I said, we are a partnership, so we are expecting you to also do your own job search, as well as reading those job descriptions carefully when you're going. So don't just go through and apply for everything you see. It's very important that you read job descriptions, so that you know if it's a good fit for you, if you're qualified for it, and you want to be able to speak those back to the employee if you end up in front of them doing an interview. You want to be able to pull things from the job description that you can say, I can do these things. These are the things you asked for. These are the qualities I have. So that's extremely important to read those job descriptions. The other very important one is to check your social media before you start applying for jobs. And does anybody know why I say check your own social media? Nobody? Well, just so
To make
you
sure that it's
know,
appropriate for the environment and that it's not gonna be a drawback.
right, right. It's just so you know, employers, they're gonna check, if they get your resume, they're gonna Google search you. Not they might, they are going to Google search you. And your name may or may not pop up, but if you have a lot of social media things out there, they could pop up. And even if you've got these privacy things on, they may be able to get through and see some of the things you are posting and doing. So I always say hide your crazy and hide your crazy friends too, okay? Because there are some people you may be associated with, that you may not do the same things they do, but they may be saying some crazy things and tagging you on it. So if that's the case, just go through and do a little scrub of your social media. If it's too much, shut it down for a little bit while you're doing that job search. If there's some things you may do on a weekend that you don't want this employer to know about, okay? Um, make sure you have a car. That's your responsibility, having transportation. I know sometimes that's a hurdle or obstacle for some people, but make that a goal to get a car because it does make it a little easier for you to find employment. And also making sure your driver's license stays pretty clean, especially for those working in the HVAC field, and electrical field. Um, and you have to pass your own drug screen. That's something we can't do for you. So you already know that. The other thing I encourage everyone to do is check your voicemails on your phone. Make sure you have a voicemail on your phone and make sure it's not full. Make sure you've created you have a mailbox that can accept messages, that is set up and that it's not full, because if an employer contacts you and it said this person has a mailbox that has not been set up yet, they're probably not going to call you back. If they get a message saying this mailbox is full and can no longer take, they're probably not going to call you back. So you have to be ready. You have to be ready for that opportunity when it shows up. It's so important. My mom always says, be ready even if you don't get to go. Okay, so be prepared. And then, of course, check your emails. I know that in this world age, everybody has like 5,000 plus emails and they say, oh, I don't check it because I get so much junk email, and nobody has the time to sit there and clean it all off either. However, if you are looking for a job, it's very important that you check your email, even if you want to create a different one for your employment search, because a lot of employers do reach out to you via email. They set up interviews via email. So I don't want you to miss out on any opportunities at all. Does anyone have any questions or comments at this point? No. Okay, so of course, the resumes are what gets you in the door. That's your story. That's your brand. As Ronald was saying, that's your brand. That tells the story of where you've been, what you've learned, what you know how to do, your skills, and it gets the employer's attention. You got to keep in mind these employees, when you're applying for a job, and sometimes it gets frustrating because I've had students say, I've applied for 25 jobs. Yeah, it can get frustrating. You have to have tough skin, but you have to keep in mind from the employer side, they may be getting, 200 resumes for this one position, and they've got to go through and chop it down at some point, so your resume has to stand out. So career services makes sure that your education and your certifications and your skills are always at the very top, since this is a new field for you. so they can see right away what you have to offer and why you actually qualify for the position. Um, but that will get you in the door and get you an interview, and then it's your turn to really shine. So, let's move to the interview things, some things that you can do to help you with a great interview. Anybody have any questions before we start moving on to the interview?
I actually have an interview specific question that was brought up to be addressed. So when you
Mhm.
get to that part, I actually have a question that was brought up that somebody wants to have addressed. So
Okay,
when you're ready
okay.
for that, let me know and I'll
Awesome.
bring that up at that time.
Okay, all right. Um, can anyone tell me some things that would help you have a great interview? Right up the top of your head, what do you think would help you have a successful interview?
Dressing nice.
Proper, yeah, the proper attire.
Yes, proper attire, very important. First impression. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Some other things is, of course, preparing, like preparation before you even go in there, doing some practice questions, looking in the mirror, smiling, being comfortable with yourself, hearing your voice out loud. Some people don't like to speak. Some people don't like the sound of their voice. Some people are a little bashful or introverted. But if you practice enough and you say things over and over enough because you kind of get an idea of what they're going to be asking you about, you just have to become really comfortable with talking about yourself and talking well about yourself. So those are some of the things that will help you with having a great interview. So generally, you walk in, you shake their hands. What time should you arrive for your interview?
I wrote.
Somebody say something. No, I didn't hear.
15 minutes early,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
about 15 minutes earlier than the appointment.
Yeah, about 15 minutes early is good. That's a very good time. Coming any earlier than that, like 30 minutes is gonna make them uncomfortable. Just sit out in the lobby or, having to wait that long, but I think that's a great time, 15 minutes. That gives you time to find a park, walk in, find out where you're supposed to be, even if you have to use the restroom before you go, things like that. Good, good answer, very good answer. So they come in, they pull you back, they shake your hand. And of course, you should be smiling and look excited about it. And they sit down and say, generally, they sit down and say, tell me about yourself. And that's that question that, I've heard so many answers because it sounds very, very casual. So, is there anyone who wants to give it a shot and tell me what they would say with that question? Tell me about yourself. No brave hearts this morning?
I could tell you they did incredible with their elevator pitches. So anybody who did their elevator pitch, if you practiced it, you guys wrote incredible elevator pitches.
Um, I'm a veterinarian. I don't know. I messed up my mind.
I'm trying to find the motion.
Nope.
Sorry, sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, okay. Like she started, like she started. Tell me about yourself it sounds like a very casual question, and generally it will sink people into thinking about who am I? And you start saying, oh, well, I'm 30 years old and I have two kids and I'm from Alabama and I like to go fishing and just sometimes it prompts you, it makes you feel like they really want to know about you and your life, but what they are asking in a nice way is why are you here? Why are you interested in this position? What qualifies you to even apply? What are your motivations? What are your goals? So you should be answering the question with work experience, your previous work experience, your most recent education and training, your certifications, your top skills, and even an answer about why it is you desire to be there for that position, why you were attracted to the actual job to apply for the position in the first place. Those are the things you should be talking about when they say, tell me about yourself. They are not allowed to ask you if you're married or if you have children or your age. So those are things you should not to give it to them freely. And so I know some people do, and they think it's not a big deal. Eventually, they will find these things out, but that is not the way you should start off an interview because you don't want people to use it against you. They're not supposed to, but some people, don't do things the right way, and they may, hold it against you that you've got 2 or 3 kids. You may be calling out too much, so they're not going to select you just on that reason alone, which is very unfair. Very unfair. Um, any questions so far? Okay. Generally, they're going to ask you about your strengths and weaknesses. And I always say it's easy to talk about your strengths. It's a little harder with the weaknesses. But when you are giving your strengths, be sure to avoid what I call Miss America answers, which says, I'm a hard worker, I'm a team player, and I get the job done. I hear that all the time. And if they're interviewing 7 people that day and all 7 say the exact same thing, no one stood out. So I encourage you, whatever it is you say, even if you are a hard worker and you say that, you need to back it up with some examples. Have you worked 12-hour shifts? Have you covered for other people? Have you gone in on your day off to assist? Have you done things without being asked to do them? That sounds a lot better than I'm a hard worker. You have to be very specific and give examples of when you've done these things. Being a team player, even if it's just things you've done in class, you could talk about the team projects that you've done here on campus. And again, any previous work experience where you've been a team player. Okay. Um, the weakness part, of course, is a little harder. And I always tell people, for some reason, when you say, what is your weakness? People think internally and about, oh, their lifestyle or their, personality or something. And I always say it's just easier to think about everybody's not great at everything. We're great at some things. There's some things we need a little more work on. That's the best way to think of what your weakness is. My weakness personally is learning things or retaining information that comes through speech auditorially. I have to see things in writing to retain them better. I can, but I'm better when they're in writing. So that's my weakness. Is something that I constantly work on. Even learning the names of my students is something I constantly work on. Not having to see everything in writing. So it could be something like that. Is there anyone who wants to share a weakness that they have and they would like to improve on? Okay.
Mine's the same as yours.
Okay. Okay. I've heard some people, sometimes they'll say time management, which is good, but you always have to come up with a statement of what are you doing to overcome that? I could do better with my time management. I'm learning now to wake up a little earlier or, write myself sticky notes and put them on my mirror or, I've invested in a calendar book, a schedule book to keep up with my appointments. I'm using the timer on my watch to keep me from, being late for appointments. So anything like that, just to tell them what you're doing to overcome that weakness is a great thing. Let's see.
Also, that question does not mean that they are looking for you to give a weakness as a reason to not hire you.
Right.
Understand that everybody is going to get this question. People don't try to get in the head of the interviewer and try to give them the answer they are looking for. Okay, trying to get into that interviewer's head and just give them the answer they're looking for, that can be one of the worst things you're doing. Because if you're trying to just please them, they're going to catch on that you are just trying to give them the answers they're looking for. They want your real, true, honest answers. And it's going to come through as fake, phony, and they are going to catch on. None of us are going to win acting awards. You're not fooling them. Give them honest answers. So try to come up with answers that truly do reflect you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Another question I generally ask when I'm doing the mock interviews is, why should we hire you? And that just, in my opinion, gives you an opportunity to really sell yourself. You should be selling yourself in every single answer. Every single answer is an opportunity for you to sell yourself and to show confidence. Even if you're new to the field, all of that, I do not want you to say, I tell my students, do not say, I'm just new to the field and I'm entry level. So, woe is me. I just hope you'll give me a shot. I don't want you to have that type of spirit on you when you go in. You should be confident because you've learned a great deal of things in school, and this is an opportunity for you to learn more. So they're not expecting you to come in knowing everything. They're gonna train anybody who hires you is going to train you because they want you to do things their way. So that's extremely important. So when I say, why should we hire you? That is an opportunity for you to restate that you finished school, what program you finished, whether you had any awards or recognitions during that time. Again, going back to that job description and saying, well, it looks like you were looking for a person who knew how to do, X, Y, Z. And these are things that I've had lots of training on. Giving examples again, always giving examples of when you've done these things and just letting them know that is why they should hire you. Not giving vague because I'm a hard worker, because I'm a team player again, because I'll get the job done. That's gonna fly right over their heads. So you have to give them some really solid information as why they should hire you. That they can depend on you, that you are prompt, that you have great time management skills. You generally get to work on time. You normally stay late. You're a sponge. You love to learn. You learn quickly. Things of that nature. Anybody else have anything they want to inject?
I
Okay.
think you hit on some very important things there. That very specific responsiveness,
Mhm.
responding very specific. Those general answers, those Miss America type answers, I don't think people are realizing how much they're utilizing those and giving those, and that can be a real problem in the interview process, and that can be what's causing them to not be as successful in that interview process. You tend to get a little nervous and
Mhm.
you start generalizing. When you're generalizing, think about that. You're putting yourself in that general population with everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Think of it, if a lot of people like cars and things, a general car is a Toyota Corolla. Everybody's in the Toyota Corolla. Everybody's in the Honda Civic. Everybody's in the, and somebody pulls up with a Lamborghini. Everybody stares at the Lamborghini. You want to be the Lamborghini. It's very
Yes.
specific. It's unique. It stands out. Don't generalize yourself and be the little sedan over there. Stand out. Your uniqueness is what is going to set you apart. And understand, like she said, what you've accomplished. You came in, learned a new trade. You learned all this. I have what you are looking for. You are looking for this, I can do this. You're looking for this, I can do this. You are looking for this, I can do this. And when you hire me, I will do this, and everything that you train me to do, I will do that and more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boom.
Yeah. Trainable and teachable.
Yes.
And will follow directions. That's extremely important. And of course, dependable. Being on time, coming to work every day. That's definitely something that employers are extremely, that's their biggest pull. Are you dependable? Can they depend on you? Not calling out. So that's extremely important. Normally at the end of the question, they've asked you all these questions about your personality, how you handle conflict, different things like that. And then they give you an opportunity to ask them questions. It's your chance to see if they're a good fit for you. Does anyone have any examples of what they think they would ask an employer at the end of an interview? Is there anyone who can tell me what you should not ask at the end of the interview?
The salary.
The salary. Absolutely. Should not ask about the salary. And I actually skipped over the salary question. We do add that in the mock interview. What salary are you looking for? And people are normally a little stunned. They're not sure how to answer that question. And I don't know if that's the question you were talking about, but of course we recommend that you not give a number so that you don't undercut yourself or, go too high. But the truth of the matter is they do have a budget set, that's for sure. But if their budget is to pay you, $20 an hour, and you're saying, well, I know I'm new out of school, so anything between 17 and 19, I'll take it. They're probably gonna give you the 17 because you stated that you were okay with that, and they're gonna save themselves a lot of money. And people don't think that's a big deal, but if it's just $1 difference, if you've said 19 and the job pays 20, that $1 equates to $2,080 that you will not see for the year. You will not see that money. You will never catch up and get that money. So
That raises.
yeah. So it's very important. I say use this opportunity to sell yourself and to remind them what they're getting, that you've completed an accelerated program, all the great things you've learned, your determination, your passion, your motivation. Um, being dependable, and again reminding them of giving them examples and saying I really just want, and your certifications, and it's a nice way of saying pay me what I'm worth, but just say I would really like a salary that reflects the level of skills that I'm bringing to the table. I want that salary and the skills to match. So don't pay me like I'm some Joe off the street, 14 bucks an hour. That's not going to work. So that's the best way to answer that question. Now, if they, keep pushing for it, they may want to know, but you should be aware of the range anyway. You should be doing your research and be aware of the range, anyway. But if you can't avoid just not giving a number and just using that to highlight what you're going to be bringing to their company, what value you're going to add to their company, I think that'll speak volumes. So, back to the end question. What questions do you have for me? What will you be asking the employer?
You can ask them questions like, can you tell me about my potential team or department? You can ask them questions about how do you measure performance or success in this role or this company? You can ask them questions like, what are the responsibilities of the particular role or job? Those are the questions you can ask.
Excellent. I love those. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yeah, I always tell people to ask about the training process first, and then that kind of fell right in line with that. What can I expect if I'm hired? When will you be making a decision? Things that are employer centered, not what you're going to give me, not salary, not benefits, not days off, not what are your vacation days, none of that. All about the employee. What is the culture here? Who's worked here the longest? How long have they been here? What do you like best about this company? Just things to get an idea of what the company is like. Those are great questions to give you an idea of what to expect when you're interviewing. But you always should have questions. That's the bottom line. Don't ever say, no, I don't have any questions. No, you told me everything. And sometimes they will answer questions. I encourage you to prepare at least 5 questions that you want to ask at the end. Prepare them in the beginning. You can have them written down. You can take them with you. And just in case they answer, 2 or 3, you'll have something you can still ask. But you never want to get to the end and say, no, no, I don't have any questions. And I encourage you to absolutely do research on any company that you're going to interview with, because it's not good if they say, tell me what you've learned, tell me what you know about this company. Why'd you select us? It's not going to look good if you go, I was just applying for jobs and you don't really have a real interest in the company. So I encourage you to do that as well, to research the company before you actually go in. But that's basically all I have. Does anybody have any questions? And did you have a question, Mr.
Yes,
Hayward?
a question that came up, uh, especially like in the HVAC field, you have a regular work schedule. You may work 4 or 5 days, depending on what your schedule is, but then you're kind of expected to be on call.
Mhm,
And sometimes that on call falls on your day off.
mhm.
And how do you find out how much of your work-life balance is thrown off, as opposed to, okay, you expect me to work 5 days, but I'm going to have to take call maybe on both of my days off or one day off, how do I know how much of my life is going to be impacted by this job? Am I expected to be paid, not paid, etc.? How do I find out what my true work hours are actually going to be?
And I think that's one of the great questions for that ending part when you're asking about the employees. What can I expect? What does a typical day look like? About how many calls are we expected to get per day? Generally, and if there's an on-call schedule, how does that work? I mean, I would ask that up front, definitely, if you don't have that freedom. A lot of times they're going to tell you anyway because they want to know if you are available before they even select you. But I think it's
Okay,
perfectly professional to ask about that at the end of the interview.
so that should be an upfront thing prior to it getting to the point where the offer is made and
Right,
you accept it.
right.
Okay, so if that is brought on after hiring, that should tell you what is going on in the company, and maybe that is not the best fit, and you might want to consider the job process while you are currently at that new employer. That might be a heads up, that might be a warning sign that this new place you're at might not be the best place. Exactly,
Absolutely,
exactly.
absolutely. Well, that's all I have. Is there anyone that has any questions at all for me? Is there anybody working in the field already?
I know we have a couple that have positions or going into positions.
Okay,
They might not be on the call. That
okay.
was incredible. Let's show some love here for Princess Phillips. Let's see those emojis. We really do
Thank you.
appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for that. Everybody stay on. I've got a little bit to go over with you before we are complete today here. So thank you. Princess, you're welcome to stay on, or you are welcome to go get that coffee, whatever you need to do.
Oh, no, I got lots
Uh,
of work to do, but I appreciate the invite. I appreciate being able to spend some time with you guys, and I hope you have a great day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
We really
Bye-bye.
appreciate it. All right. So that was some incredible information, some great insight. Glad to hear it. One of the key things I really want to point out is the fact that that career services is always available to you, even after graduation. That is very key. Because that's a great way to network to find out if there are additional leads, that resume support, being able to come back, finding out if you're still doing okay with that interview process, those mock interviews, things like that. Those are very important things that they can offer you. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get going here. I'm sharing my screen here. So today we are in, excuse me, week 2. Everything should be being done. I am dropping zeros as we go. Um, as of Sunday, anything that hasn't been done, if anybody has anything out there from week 1, those will no longer be accessible. So if you're behind on anything from week 1, that will be it. You won't be able to go back into those after Sunday. No exceptions on that, and they won't be available the rest of the time. Your signed resume, those of you that have completed meeting with career services and they've gone over your resume and they've signed it, this is the assignment where you come in and you click start assignment and you can upload that picture there. If you're having any problems getting that uploaded in there, please feel free to email that resume with the signature to me, okay? You can email that to me and I will put that in there. I know sometimes people have difficulties getting that in. That's quite all right. Your midterm today, again, once you start this and you go in here um, and you begin working, that's it. You can't go in and out, in and out. It's going to stop you. There's 25 questions. There's no time limit. It's 10% of your overall grade. Uh, please take your time. Don't try to rush through it. The first time you see that grade in there, that is not the final grade. Anything that has a short answer, I have to manually grade. Anything you miss, I'm going to go through and check and see what the answers were to the question you got. Remember, these questions are random, so every student doesn't necessarily get the same question. I want to see what you received, why you got it wrong, what your options were, and see if I can tell why you chose what you chose, and if there was confusion with the question for any reason. All right, everybody got that? Everybody understand that? Also, in the first week, if you did that bonus points for 5 points, I have to add that in. If you didn't do that in the first week, you missed out on a chance for 5 points for that. That is not eligible for extension. Okay, under the red help, there's the midterm study guide. You can click on this side here to view it online, or you can click that little down arrow, download it to your device. All right, so a little bit different of a presentation today. It's going to be very, very short here. And something that I want to show you, Princess did a great job of showing and telling some of the things that we've gone over in class. Did you notice a lot of the things we've done in class, she kind of mentioned very similar topics, similar stuff. Anybody notice that? She's got a lot of experience in this area. These things are universal when it comes to it. So I want to show you what you've done so far. Okay, we started off with a career plan. You set long-term goals. These are where you wanted to go. Okay, things you want to achieve, things you want to gain. You should be doing these things for real. Okay, these should be real. If you are doing this stuff correctly, this is you. This is going to benefit you. If you're kind of blowing this off, putting in fake stuff, that's what's going to happen in real life. This should be your stuff. Then we did an informational interview. This gives you real experiences, good and bad, things you may not have realized, network growth. Even if you've been around the same field for long periods of time, people in the same career fields and own their own businesses, etc., they network with people in those fields. Why? Because another mind is another outlook. You don't know everything. Nobody does. And you get different insights. Everybody learns from everything. If you don't think that you're learning things, you need to open your eyes and reevaluate. You're missing something. There's a reason why people in like careers get together. They share, they grow. This is the way new technology develops. A business that is completely a silo, meaning there is them all on their own, sitting there just all on their own. This is called a silo, okay? As opposed to, whoops, as opposed to a community of different buildings communicating, this is much stronger. That's why we have you do informational interviews. You pass information. Resume keywords. Princess went over this too. You need to be able to read those positions, pick out those keywords. She even mentioned it. You talk about them in that interview. Everybody hear that what she said when you're in that interview, you talk about what was mentioned in that job posting. And you say, your listing had this and this. I have these skills. I mentioned it. You also need to have those on your resume. That's what gets you in. Okay, there's a reason. Your resume will not even be picked up because those automated data systems won't pick it up. So that's why you use those. You search them. So that's why we had you use them. You put them on your resumes, your business cards, your LinkedIn accounts. You use them in your networking. Does everybody see how this is all pulling together? Your personal brand. You are your brand. It's your reputation. It's your aptitude, your skills, your ability, your personality, your values. People will know you by your brand, good or bad. She stated it right there. When she's got openings that people are wanting, she's looking at, did this person show up? Are they there all the time? How are their grades? What did they do? Did they put effort? That is their brand. No one's going to risk their brand, their reputation on someone who doesn't have a good brand. Your brand gets there before you do. All right? Your brand statement is one sentence. One sentence, okay? That's what it is. One sentence that describes you. So you think of one way to describe you, almost like your slogan. Break it down. What would you describe yourself in one sentence? Then we moved on to the interview. Prepare. You're going to do your mock interview. Come up with practice questions. Dress appropriate. Your hygiene, your smile, your handshake. Be on time. Where do you go? Where do you park? In that interview, you need to sit up, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap or the armrest. When you go to sit down, you hand your resume to the interviewer. You don't wait for them to ask, you reach out with it. You answer with confidence. You know you. You know you. And you are awesome. Okay? Don't wander off from the topic. That's not going to impress people. Stay to the topic. Ask closing questions. Afterwards, we're going to do what we call a debrief. How did it go? What did you do? How were the questions? That's what's called a debrief. We talked about being online. Princess even mentioned this. It's either good, bad, or missing. Missing is as bad. Make sure you have a positive online presence. Employers will check. She flat told you that. They're going to check. It's not if, it's they will. LinkedIn can be great because employers are going to be looking for you. Lock down your Facebook and other social media. It's not a question of if they are. We're telling you. You don't have to believe it, but it's what happens. You should be networking. Virtual events, volunteer, talk to campus faculty and peers. The people you are going to school with, you're networking when you're talking to them. Okay? And who you're hanging around with and how they're doing in school, that's affecting your reputation too. Think about that. They don't pay your bills, but they're affecting your reputation. We're not talking about high school cliques here now. Go to industry conferences and seminars, local meetups. These can be fun things. The local meetups for every career, you go to restaurants, you go to clubs, you go places so you could talk casually. Have business cards ready to hand out, physical or digital. You can do them on your phones. There's apps for these things. Okay? Does everybody see how far you've gone? This is an accomplishment for you, and you should be proud. So let's hear it for y'all. You have done this already. This is your accomplishment. So you should be thanking yourselves for and praising yourselves. You have done this. It's not often we get to hear good things about ourselves. I am proud of what you have done already. I know some of you have assignments you got to catch up on, but you have done this. You've heard this. You know this, and you can do this. So, y'all that are listening, be proud. Those that aren't listening, okay. Today, I want you to do this. Now, think about this, okay? Here's the question it's detailed. I'm going to make you an offer. This is the offer, and it's very specific. I will hire you and your best friend at $30 an hour each, okay? Or I will hire only you at $50 an hour and your best friend doesn't get a job? Your best friend will never know about this offer that I'm giving you, just who is hired or not. Which one will you take and why? So all your friend will know is either you both have $30 an hour or only you have $50 an hour. They won't know you were in control of this. Which one will you take and why? This decision is up to you, and this is your question for today. Take the 50 or take the 30? Your decision, and you tell me why. So that's a little bit of a decision to make on this midterm day. Midterm grades will go out Monday to your campuses. Um, they will be doing reach out to people who may not make the 65% threshold. I don't believe that that will be many, if any, in this class because I expect everybody to be over that. If you are falling behind on that, this is the time to catch up. Okay, so I believe everybody will get over that. Otherwise, everybody's midterm grades do go out Monday, and campuses will be reaching out to anyone that will need extra help, push, or inspiration. All right. And any questions before we leave for the day? Nope, we're good. All right. We will see you Monday. Monday starts week 3. Please stay caught up because at the end of week 3, final week assignments will open on that Friday. Y'all have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday.
See ya.
Thank you.